I spent all my savings to help him win a lawsuit, securing his rightful place in the family. He honored our marriage agreement and made a grand spectacle of taking me as his wife, but for 7 years, he has loathed everything about this wealthy family, and me most of all. The one who truly holds his heart is his childhood sweetheart from the mountain village, a girl named Hisue, for whom he yearns to return. It wasn't until the human trafficker from back then came for revenge. Intent on killing my entire family, he took the knife meant for my father and died in my arms. With his last breath, he smiled, "A worthless life in exchange for your whole family. It was worth it. In our next life, please, don't come looking for me. Let me and Hisue live out our days in peace." I agreed. All right. When I opened my eyes again, I was back on the day I found him. He was laughing and playing with Hisue on the ridge between the fields. The afternoon sun beat down, making one's head swim. On the ridge not far away, Guju was carrying a girl on his back, laughing heartily. The girl lay against his broad back, holding a foxtail grass in her hand and gently brushing it across his cheek. It was Hisue. In my past life, when I found Guju, it was exactly the same scene. I rushed over then, tore the wheat ear from her hand, and with red-rimmed eyes, demanded that Guju tell me if he still remembered me. He looked at me with a strange, wary gaze, as if I were a madwoman. I only found out later that he had been abducted at the age of 10 and had long forgotten everything from his past. He saw himself only as a wild child from the mountain hollows, whose sole dream was to spend his life with his childhood sweetheart, Hisue. It was I who shattered his dreams with my own hands. I spent my entire life savings to hire the best lawyer, fought the legal battle for him, and freed him from the control of his adoptive parents. Then I leveraged all the connections of the Wen family to help him reclaim his heritage and return to the Gu family, one of the most elite and powerful clans. He is Guju, the long-lost sole heir of the Gu family, missing for a decade, and I, Wen Jixia, was the fiancé he was betrothed to since childhood. Our marriage was the natural next step. I believed that, given enough time, he would eventually remember me and come to love me. Yet, after 7 years of marriage, all I got in return were his dying words, "In the next life, for heaven's sake, don't come looking for me. I'm back to before it all began." In the distance, Guju seemed to sense my gaze. He stopped and looked over, his brow furrowed, his eyes displeased. Hisue followed his gaze, her face alight with curiosity. I stood my ground, not rushing forward as I had in my past life. The wind swept across the field, stirring the green sea of wheat and rustling the hem of my skirt. I simply watched them in silence. I watched the man I had loved for 2 lifetimes, standing with the woman he had yearned for his entire life. It's wonderful. He could finally have his heart's desire. I turned and walked away without a backward glance. The crisp sound of wheat stalks rustled behind me. "A Jew, who is that person? She's been staring at us." Guju's tone was cold. "Don't know her. Probably just a passerby." My steps faltered for a moment, then returned to normal. "I don't know you." "That's for the best." I returned to the town and, with the last of my money, bought a bus ticket back to the city. Before boarding, I called the head of the Gu household, Madame Gu, my future mother-in-law. The phone rang for a long time before it was finally answered. A dignified yet weary voice came through the line. "Who is this?" "Auntie Gu, it's me, Jixia." Her voice was tinged with surprise. "Weren't you out looking for clues about a Jew? Any news?" Guju had been missing for 10 years, and the Gu family had nearly driven themselves mad searching for him. Clutching the phone and listening to the clamor around me, I said softly, "I found him." The line went instantly quiet. After a few seconds, Madame Gu's trembling voice asked, "Where?" "In Nanshan town." "He's doing well." "Good. How good could a child who's been trafficked possibly be?" Madame Gu's voice turned shrill. "Send me the address. I'll send someone to get him right away." "Auntie Gu." I cut her off. "I won't give you the address." "Wen Jixia, do you have any idea what you're saying?" "I know," I said, my voice calm as I watched the scenery speeding past the window. "Guju has someone he loves here. They're deeply in love. He doesn't want to come back." "Nonsense. He is a son of the Gu family. He has Gu blood running through his veins. How could he possibly not want to come back? But he's forgotten." My airy, offhand remark plunged the other end of the line into a dead silence once more. "He's forgotten everything from the past, forgotten us too. All he wants now is to live a quiet, stable life with that girl named Hisue." These words were exactly the same as the ones I used to persuade him in my past life. The only difference was, back then, I said them to make him remember his duty, to make him come with me. In this life, I truly wish for him to stay, too, Mrs. Gu was silent for a long time, so long that I thought she had hung up the phone. Jixia, is it that you don't want to marry him anymore? Her voice was tinged with cautious probing. I smiled. Yes, I don't want to marry a man whose heart belongs to someone else. Let's consider our engagement null and void. With that, I hung up the phone, removed the SIM card, and tossed it into the wind rushing past the car window. Guju, he sway. May you grow old together in happiness, never to part. Upon returning to the Wen family home, I shut myself in my room and fell seriously ill. My parents thought my illness was due to heartbreak from failing to find Guju, and they sighed with worry every day. 2 weeks later, once my health had improved, the very first thing I did was to have my father terminate all business dealings with the Gu family. My father was utterly bewildered. Jixia, the Wen and Gu families have always been as close as branches of the same tree. What on earth are you doing, father? Guju is not coming back. Gazing out the window at the phoenix tree, I said softly, our Wen family must start making our own plans. Father looked at me, his expression inscrutable. In the end, he sighed and gave his consent. Without the support of the Gu family, the Wen family's business indeed became much more difficult, but I don't regret it. This is a debt my Wen family owes Guju. In my past life, I bound him for 7 years with a sense of obligation and a marriage contract, causing him to miss the love of his life. In this life, I will give him his freedom. The days passed, one after another, calm and uneventful. I thought Guju and I were done for good. That was until 3 months later, when a black Rolls-Royce pulled up outside the Wen family's gate. The door opened, and a man in a sharp suit stepped out. It was the Gu family's butler, Uncle Lee. Behind him trailed a boy in a faded, washed-out old t-shirt, his face a picture of defiant arrogance. It was Guju, standing by the second-floor window. I watched that face, both familiar and strange, as an invisible hand clenched tight around my heart. How could he be back? Uncle Lee looked up, seeming to notice me, and gave a respectful bow in my direction. Guju followed his line of sight and looked over as well. Our eyes met. His gaze was exactly the same as it had been back on the field ridge. It was unfamiliar, cold, and filled with undisguised contempt. So now I'm the villain who tore them apart. I slowly lowered my gaze and closed the window. My father's delighted voice drifted up from downstairs. Ju, you're back. This is wonderful. Just wonderful. Then came Guju's icy voice. I'm not Guju. My name is Chinju. Besides, you're the ones who forced me to come here. This has nothing to do with me. I need to go back. He Sui is waiting for me. My father's laughter died in his throat. A deathly silence fell over the living room. I did not go downstairs. I knew the Gu family had surely arrived as well. They would never allow the sole heir of the Gu family to remain adrift and uncared for. Sure enough, the voice of Madame Gu soon echoed from downstairs. Ju, stop this nonsense. Come home with your mother. I told you, I have no home, and I have no mother. Guju's voice was thick with defiance and rage. You rich people, what gives you the right to decide my life? The right of being your mother? Madame Gu's temper flared as well. Have you forgotten how you used to cling to me as a child? Have you forgotten your favorite osmanthus cakes? I don't remember anything. You'll remember. The doctor said it's selective amnesia. With the right trigger, it'll all come back to you. I don't want to remember. Guju roared the words. I just want to be with Hisui. The sound of the argument downstairs grew louder and louder. I leaned against the door and slowly slid down to the floor. 3. Why? I've already let go. So why does fate insist on entangling us again? I don't know how much time had passed when a knock came at the door. It was my mother's voice. Jixia, come down, Mrs. Gu would like a word with you. I took a deep breath, stood up, and opened the door. The atmosphere in the living room was tense. Guju was pinned to the sofa by 2 bodyguards, his face full of resentment. Madame Gu sat in the seat of honor, her face ashen. Seeing me come downstairs, she beckoned me over. Jixia, come, sit by your aunt. I walked over and sat down beside her. Guju's gaze fell on me like a knife. I didn't look at him. Auntie, you were looking for me. Mrs. Gu took my hand, gave it a gentle pat, and sighed. Jixia, I know you've been wronged. We've spoiled this child. And after 10 years of running wild out there, it's hard for him to change his ways so quickly. Please don't take it to heart. I forced a faint smile and said nothing. When you said on the phone that you wanted to break off the engagement with a Jew, I knew you were just speaking in anger. The marriage arrangement between our families was set by the old master when he was still with us. It's not something to be casually discarded. How about this? you get engaged first. Once Ju settles down a bit, then we can discuss the wedding. I looked up and met her earnest gaze. In my past life, I was just the same, easily swayed by her few persuasive words. I thought that as long as I stayed by his side, he would eventually come back to me, but I was wrong. When someone's heart isn't with you, everything you do is wrong. Auntie, I withdrew my hand, my voice quiet but firm. I said the engagement is off. I won't marry a man who doesn't love me, Mrs. Gu's face instantly darkened. Wen Jixia, are you threatening me? I'm not. I stood up, looking down at Gu Ju on the sofa. I just don't want to repeat the same mistake. I'll let him have his way, and I'll set myself free. After saying that, I turned to head upstairs. Stop right there. Gu Ju spoke up abruptly. His voice was hoarse, laced with sarcasm. All this high-minded talk is just a cover, isn't it? You look down on me, a rough country boy from the backwoods, and think I'm not good enough for a fine young lady from the Wen family. Wen Jixia, don't worry, even if you begged me, I wouldn't marry you. In this lifetime, I will only marry He Sui. I stopped in my tracks, but I did not turn around. Then I wish you both a long and happy life together. Back in my room, I locked the door. The argument downstairs was still going on, but I could no longer make out the words. All I knew was that it was over between Gu Ju and me, completely over. The very next day, the Gu family took Gu Ju and left. Rumor has it they sent Gu Ju abroad for compulsory memory restoration therapy. As for He Sui, Madame Gu paid her off and sent her back to her hometown. Everything seemed to return to normal. On my advice, the Wen family business gradually pivoted. It was a tough transition, but we finally managed to get our footing. I began learning the ropes of taking over the company. Father was delighted, saying I had finally grown up. Well, after having faced death once, how could anyone not grow up? I thought life would continue on in this quiet, uneventful way. That was until a year later, at a business cocktail reception, when I saw Gu Ju again. He had grown thinner and taller, having shed the boyish naivety of his youth, with a sharper, colder edge now visible in his eyes and expression. The impeccably tailored black suit he wore accentuated his tall, commanding presence and air of refined elegance. He stood in the crowd, the center of attention like a natural-born king. He was a completely different person from the defiant boy in the worn-out t-shirt I remembered. By his side stood a girl in a white dress. It was He Sui. She seemed out of her element, clinging tightly to Gu Ju's arm with a timid expression. Sensing her unease, Gu Ju leaned down and whispered something in her ear. A smile then spread across her face, her eyes crinkling into crescents, a perfect match, like two halves of a whole. I averted my gaze, picked up a glass of champagne, and turned to walk away. Jixia, a gentle voice called out from behind me. I turned around and saw a man in a silver-gray suit, smiling at me. It's Xia Sun, the son of my father's old friend, and also my current, blind date. Brother Xia Sun, I said with a smile, drinking here all by yourself. He walked over to me and, quite naturally, took the wine glass from my hand, replacing it with a glass of juice. Too much alcohol isn't good for you. I took the juice and said, thank you. What were you looking at just now? You seemed completely lost in thought. He followed my line of sight, just in time to see Gu Ju and He Sui locked in an intimate embrace. Xia Sun's eyes flickered for a moment before returning to normal. So that's the young master the Gu family just got back. I heard he was your fiancé. He was. I took a sip of the juice. It was cloyingly sweet. Not anymore. Xia Sun looked at me, his dark eyes profound. Good. I looked at him, somewhat puzzled. He gave a slight smile, said nothing more, and simply stood there with me. Gu Ju, not far away, seemed to have noticed us as well. His gaze lingered on us for a few seconds before he coldly looked away, as if we were strangers. A pang of bitterness rose in my heart, but it was quickly overshadowed by a profound sense of relief. This, I thought, was for the best. Midway through the reception, I excused myself to use the restroom, slipping away from the boisterous crowd. At the end of the corridor, someone stepped out and blocked my path. It's He Sui. She slipped off the ill-fitting high heels and stood barefoot on the cold marble floor. Seeing me, she called out timidly, Miss Wen. I ignored her and tried to walk past. She grabbed my wrist, her nails digging into my flesh. Miss Wen, do you still have feelings for Ju? I frowned, trying to pull my hand away. I don't like him. You're lying, she exclaimed, her voice suddenly charged with emotion. If you don't like him, why would you show up in front of him? Why would you bring another man just to provoke him? I was so exasperated I almost laughed. Miss He Sui, I believe you've misunderstood the situation. First of all, I was invited to this reception by the organizers. I didn't come here of my own accord. Second, Xia-sun is my friend, not some tool I'm using to provoke anyone. Third, and most importantly, I said, looking her straight in the eye and enunciating every word, Guju and I are done. There is nothing between us anymore. Please, stop harassing me. With that, I forcefully shook her hand off. She stumbled and fell to the ground, her eyes welling up with tears in an instant. Miss Wen, I know you come from a good family and look down on a country girl like me from the mountains, but Ju and I are truly in love. Please, I'm begging you, stop trying to come between us, okay? She wept with a pitiable, heart-wrenching delicacy. If I hadn't died once before and seen her true colors, I might have truly believed she was a pure and innocent little flower. 5. In my past life, she was just the same, sniveling and playing the victim in front of me. Then she'd turn right around and run to Guju to complain, saying I bullied and humiliated her. Guju believed it. He locked me in the house, forbade me from going out, and even cut off all my contact with the outside world. He said a venomous woman like me deserved to be locked up, lest I go out and harm others. Watching he sway weeping on the floor, I felt nothing but disgust. Cut the act. I'm not buying it. Hisui's sobs hitched. She looked up at me, disbelief in her eyes. The timidity and innocence faded from her gaze, replaced by a flicker of venom. It was only for a moment, but I caught it. Wen Jixia, don't get cocky. Aju loves me now. You're just a cast-off loser. You think if you pretend not to care, he'll look back at you. Dream on. I let out a cold, scornful laugh. I never wanted him to come back. You're the one who's so nervous, afraid he might remember something. Hisui's face instantly turned deathly pale. You. What nonsense are you talking about? I don't understand. Fine, forget it if you don't understand. I couldn't be bothered to argue with her anymore. You're on your own. I walked past her and went into the restroom. Splashing some cold water on my face finally helped ease the irritation in my heart. In the mirror, my face looked a little pale. Even with a second chance at life, facing this again still stirs up my emotions. I took a deep breath and told myself, Wen Jixia, you are not the person you used to be. Don't waste another ounce of feeling on someone who isn't worth it. Having composed myself, I stepped out of the restroom. There, in the doorway, stood a figure. It was Guju. He was leaning against the wall, a cigarette between his fingers. The swirling smoke obscured the expression on his face. Seeing me come out, he stubbed out his cigarette and walked towards me. What did you say to Hisui? He demanded coldly. Nothing. She wouldn't have come running to me in tears for no reason, saying you bullied her. Believe it or not, I don't want to explain. Just like in my past life, he will never believe me. Wen Jixia, he took a step closer, his tall frame looming over me. I'm warning you, stay away from Hisui. She's pure and kind, not like you, full of schemes. If you dare lay a finger on her again, you'll have me to answer to. I looked up and met his gaze directly. Those eyes, once full of starlight, were now nothing but cold. Guju, do you think the whole world is trying to steal Hisui from you? He paused for a moment. I let out a sarcastic laugh. Relax, I have no interest in your sweetheart, and I have even less interest in you. From now on, do me a favor and stay away from me. With that, I pushed him aside and strode away. My heart ached with a cold pain, yet I felt a sense of relief like never before. Finally, I could let go completely. Back in the banquet hall, Xia-sun was holding a glass of wine, chatting and laughing with a few business tycoons. Seeing me return, he promptly ended his conversation and walked over to me. What took you so long? You look pale. Frowning, he reached out to feel my forehead. Are you feeling unwell? I shook my head and pulled away from his hand. It's nothing. I just feel a bit stuffy. Should I walk you back then? Okay. Xia-sun and I left the event early. 6. I got in the car and stared out the window the whole time. Not saying a word. Xia-sun didn't disturb me either, just drove in silence. Soft music was playing in the car. My emotions gradually settled down. Brother Xuan, I suddenly spoke up. What kind of person do you think I am? Xuan was taken aback for a moment, then smiled. In my eyes, you're wonderful, smart, beautiful, independent, and strong. Is that so? I smiled self-deprecatingly. But in other people's eyes, I'm just a vicious woman. Who are these other people? Guju. Xia-sun's tone turned cold. I didn't say anything, which was as good as an admission. Jixia, he said, pulling the car over to the side of the road and turning to look at me earnestly. Other people's opinions don't matter. What matters is how you see yourself. You don't need to change who you are or compromise your own happiness for anyone. You are you, the one and only Wen Jixia. His voice was gentle, like a spring breeze that scattered the gloom in my heart. I looked at him, feeling my eyes grow warm. In my past life, when I was imprisoned by Guju and at my most desperate, it was Xia who found a way to come see me. He told me he would get me out, but I never got the chance, because Guju, to protect Hisui, used me as bait to lure in the traffickers. In the end, he died, and I was erased by the system, given a second chance at life. I want nothing more to do with them. Thank you, brother Xuan. I lowered my head and whispered, but I'm not good enough for you. Whether you're good enough or not isn't for you to decide. Xia voice brooked no argument. What I say goes. Wen Jixia, I like you. I've liked you since the first moment I saw you. I know you don't want to talk about feelings right now. That's okay, I can wait until the day you're ready to accept me. I looked up at him, stunned. The depth of feeling and sincerity in his eyes seemed genuine. My mind was in complete turmoil. You don't have to answer me now. He cut me off. Go home and get some rest. Don't overthink things. He started the car again and drove me home. Just before I got out of the car, he suddenly called out to me, Jixia, no matter what happens, I'll be right here with you. I looked at him, a tumult of emotion swirling in my heart. In the end, I just nodded, muttered a thank you, and hurriedly got out of the car. Back home, I collapsed onto the bed, my mind completely filled with Xiaosun's words. Should I accept him? Could this battered and bruised heart of mine ever love someone else again? I don't know. In the days that followed, Sun Xia, true to his word, didn't pressure me anymore, but he would text me every day, wishing me good morning and good night. He would also occasionally send over my favorite desserts. He would wait quietly at the foot of my office building when I worked late, just to see me home. His kindness was like a gentle net, enveloping me completely. I admit I felt a flicker of affection, but the memories of my past life instantly snuffed it out. I'm afraid that offering my heart again will only leave me bruised and broken. I was at the office going through some paperwork when my father called out of the blue, telling me to come to the hospital. He said my mother had fainted. I was absolutely terrified. I dropped everything and rushed to the hospital. In the hospital room, my mother lay in bed, her face pale. Father sat to the side, his face etched with worry. Dad, how's mom? The doctor said it's exhaustion, combined with a bit of low blood sugar. Nothing too serious. I breathed a sigh of relief. That's good, Jixia. My father looked at me, hesitating to speak. What is it? Something has happened with the Gu family. My heart clenched. What's wrong, Guju? It seems his memory has returned. 7. My father's next words exploded in my mind like a bomb. He remembered the details of his childhood abduction and went to the police. The police discovered that the trafficker who had sold him all those years ago was Hisui's uncle, and Hisui's entire family had known his true identity all along. Yet they had kept it a secret for 10 years just to keep him by their side. I stood frozen in place, unable to speak for a long moment. In my previous life, this truth wasn't revealed until after Guju's death. I never expected it to come out so much earlier in this life. And, what about Hisui? I managed to ask, my voice strained. He was taken away by the police, suspected of harboring a criminal. He'll probably be sentenced. Father sighed. The Gu family is dead serious this time. No amount of pleading will help. What about Guju? How is he? He's locked himself in his room, refusing to see anyone. Uncle Lee says he's on the verge of a breakdown. I fell silent. One can only imagine how utterly devastated Guju must have been, upon discovering that the girl he had loved for so many years was actually a member of his enemy's family. The love he had cherished so dearly was nothing but an elaborately orchestrated deception. The family he had resented for all those years turned out to be his only true refuge. How ironic, Jixia. My father looked at me, his expression complicated. Mrs. Gu just called. She wants you to go see him. I'm not going. The words were out of my mouth almost before I thought them. I know you're upset. My father tried to persuade me, but Guju is at his most vulnerable right now. If you could be there for him, he would surely. Dad, I cut him off. What exactly is my role in this? What am I supposed to be to him now? His ex-fiancé, or the humiliated loser he publicly cast aside? So I go and comfort him, and then what? Once he's back on his feet, he'll just kick me to the curb and go find the next Hisui. I'm not a dumping ground for the emotions he's decided to throw away. My father was left speechless by my argument. I took a deep breath to soften my tone. Dad, I'll take care of mom. You focus on handling the company matters. As for the Gu family's affairs, they have nothing to do with us. Seeing my resolute expression, my father finally gave a nod. I stayed at the hospital with my mother for 3 days. During those 3 days, my phone was practically ringing off the hook with calls from Mrs. Gu. I didn't answer a single one. On the 4th day, as I was helping my mother into the car after her hospital discharge, a familiar figure stepped in front of us. It was Gu Ju. He was gaunt, almost unrecognizable, with sunken eyes and a chin shadowed with dark stubble. He looked utterly worn out and disheveled. He stared at me. His eyes a complex mix of emotions, pain, regret, even a plea. Jixia. His voice was terribly hoarse. I ignored him, helping my mother as I tried to get into the car from the other side. He took a swift step forward, blocking my path once more. Jixia, we need to talk. I have nothing to say to you. My voice was as cold as ice. Just for a moment, please, he was practically begging. Mother couldn't bear to watch any longer and patted my hand. Jixia, since a Jew has said so much, you should talk to him. Mom's waiting for you in the car. Looking into my mother's worried eyes, I finally gave in. Alright, I asked the driver to take my mother home first. In the garden outside the hospital, Gu Ju and I stood facing each other. Go on, what did you want to see me about? Jixia, I'm sorry. He looked at me, his eyes rimmed with red. I was wrong about everything before. I was a blind fool, completely taken in by that snaky sway. That's the only reason I could have treated you that way. I'm a monster. I'm a complete bastard. He raised his hand and slapped himself hard across the face. 8. A sharp, crisp sound cut through the quiet of the garden. I watched him calmly, my heart utterly still. I had heard these apologies before, in a past life. Back when he had locked me away and tortured me beyond recognition, he did the same, holding me and crying as he said he was sorry. The damage is done, an apology is useless now. Are you finished? I asked. He stared at me, dumbstruck. I've said my piece, I should go. Jixia. He grabbed my wrist, his grip so tight it felt like he was trying to crush the bones. Don't go. Please, forgive me. Let's start over. Let's get married. I'll be good to you. I'll be good to you for the rest of my life. I tried with all my might to shake him off, but I couldn't break free. Gu Ju, let go of me. I won't let go, he said stubbornly, looking at me. Not unless you agree. What makes you think I'd ever look back? I looked at him, feeling a mix of pity and absurdity. Because we grew up together. Because we were betrothed. Because I used to love you. I cut him off with a cold laugh. Gu Ju. Have you forgotten how you treated me? Have you forgotten how you publicly humiliated me for Hesui's sake, calling me vicious and scheming? Have you forgotten how you warned me to stay away from the one you love? Now that your beloved is in prison, you suddenly remember me. What do you take me for? A dog you can whistle for and dismiss at will. Every word I said cut him to the quick. The color drained from his face, inch by inch. The hand that was gripping mine slowly loosened its hold. His lips parted, but no words came out. Gu Ju, we're over. I looked at him, enunciating each word with perfect clarity. It ended the moment I decided to stop looking for you. Your life, your love, your pain, none of it has anything to do with me anymore. Don't ever come looking for me again. With that, I turned and walked away, not giving him another glance. From behind me came the sound of his agonized cry. I didn't stop. Back home, I shut myself in my room. Finally unable to hold back, I sank to the floor and wept uncontrollably. A lifetime's worth of pent-up grievances and anguish erupted in that moment. I wasn't crying for Gu Ju, but for the version of myself who once threw caution to the wind for love, that foolish one Jixia, who believed that devotion alone would be rewarded. She is already dead. She died in 7 years of a hopeless marriage, in Gu Ju's icy gaze, and in his words, in the next life, whatever you do, don't come looking for me. What lives now is when Jixia, living only for herself. After crying, I dried my tears and made a call to Xia Sun. The call connected almost immediately. Hello, Jixia, brother Xuan. My voice was still a bit hoarse. Does what you said before still stand? There was a silence on the other end of the line for a few seconds. It counts. His voice was firm yet gentle. It will always count. Then, let's give it a try. Okay. After hanging up, I looked out at the blue sky and white clouds and let out a long, deep sigh of relief. Starting today, I'm turning over a new leaf in my life. 9. My relationship with Xia Sun is going very smoothly. He's a very gentle and considerate person. He remembers all my preferences and indulges my every little whim. He never asks about my past, and never pushes me to do anything. He simply stays quietly by my side, offering warmth and strength. With him by my side, the wounds in my heart are slowly healing. I'm learning to let go of the past and to love again. Half a year later, Siasun proposed to me. It was a perfectly ordinary evening. He hadn't prepared any flowers or a diamond ring. He just said it suddenly while walking me home. Jixia, let's get married. I was stunned. He looked at me nervously. I know this might seem a bit sudden, but I mean it. I want to give you a home, a place where you can feel at peace and truly be yourself. Will you? I looked at him, and the light in my eyes shone brighter than the stars in the sky. I smiled, but tears began to fall without me even realizing. I do. We kept our wedding very low-key. We only invited our immediate families and closest friends. On the wedding day, in my white gown, I walked arm in arm with my father down the aisle toward the man waiting at the end. He stood there in a white suit, looking like a prince from a fairy tale. He looked at me, his eyes brimming with love. My father placed my hand in his. Siasun, I'm entrusting my precious daughter to you. You must treat her well. Don't worry, Dad, Siasun said, gripping my hand tightly. I will. As we exchanged rings, I spotted an unexpected guest standing in the audience. It was Guju. He stood in the corner, wearing a black trench coat, his frame gaunt and his expression desolate. He just stood there watching me quietly, neither approaching nor disturbing me. I glanced at him only once before looking away. My eyes held only the man standing before me, my husband, Siasun. Mr. Siasun, do you take Ms. Wen Jixia to be your lawfully wedded wife, to love her, to cherish her, to honor her, and to keep her, in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer, forsaking all others, for as long as you both shall live? I do. Ms. Wen Jixia, do you take Mr. Siasun to be your lawfully wedded husband, to love him, to cherish him, to honor him, and to keep him, in sickness and in health, for richer or for poorer, forsaking all others, for as long as you both shall live? Looking at Siasun, I said with a smile, I do. After the ceremony concluded, the guests began to depart. Siasun held my hand as we saw off the final guest. As I turned around, I saw Guju still standing there. Siasun noticed him too. He shielded me behind him, his gaze turning icy as he looked at Guju. Mr. Gu, the wedding is over. I know. Guju's voice was so faint it seemed a breeze could scatter it. I just wanted to say a word to her. I'll refuse on her behalf, Siasun said bluntly. A bitter smile touched Guju's lips. Siasun, you win. I didn't win against you. Siasun corrected him. I just understand better than you how to truly love someone. Guju fell silent. He looked past Siasun and fixed me with a deep, penetrating gaze. 10. In that look, regret, resentment, pain, and despair all dissolved into a final, lifeless stillness. Jixia, he said softly, I wish you happiness. With that, he turned and walked away, step by step, into the night. His receding figure looked lonely and desolate. I watched the direction in which he vanished, my heart utterly calm. Guju, farewell for good. What's on your mind? Siasun's voice pulled me back from my thoughts. I shook my head and leaned into his embrace. Nothing. It just feels like I've woken from a very long dream. Now, the dream is over. Siasun tightened his arms and pressed a kiss to my forehead. Yes. The dream is over. From now on, I'll be here for you. Married life is simple and blissful. Sun treats me like a princess. He makes me breakfast every morning and holds me as I fall asleep every night. He supports all my decisions and encourages me to do anything I want. In his love, I slowly found my way back to the cheerful, playful self I used to be. A year later, I was pregnant. It was a boy. Siasun was overjoyed, acting like a kid himself. Every day, he would lean against my belly and talk to the baby. He said that once the baby is born, he'll teach him how to play soccer, how to swim, and how to grow into a man of strong character. I couldn't help but laugh at his goofy expression. This, right here, is the happiness I've always wanted. Simple, warm, and within reach. The day my child was born was a sunny one. The sunlight was beautiful. Lying in the hospital bed, I watched Siasun holding that tiny, wrinkled baby, and my eyes welled up. My husband, my child, my everything. The day I was discharged from the hospital, Uncle Lee showed up unexpectedly. He brought news of Guju. He said that Guju had already gone abroad a month ago. He sold all of his assets and established a foundation dedicated to helping children who had been trafficked. He said he would spend the rest of his life atoning for his sins. Uncle Lee also gave me a letter. It was left for me by Guju. I didn't open it. I just threw it straight into the trash. Siasun saw it. He didn't ask anything, just walked over and hugged me from behind. It's all in the past now. I leaned into his embrace, looked at the brilliant sunshine outside the window. and smiled. It's all in the past now. The end. Story 2. The foster husband was very cold, and he never said I love you to me in 10 years of marriage. Before I died, I found the letter he had prepared for a long time, but the name on it wasn't mine. It turned out he was just cold towards me. The first thing I did after reincarnating was to cancel the engagement and encourage him to deliver the letter. He turned red with anger and for the first time yelled at me, "Li Wan, who asked you to meddle?" 1. An hour before the elevator accident, I was cleaning the attic and found a yellowed love letter, the familiar handwriting, the familiar signature. The name at the beginning, however, wasn't mine. This was a love letter that Lin he wrote to another girl. The moment the elevator fell, I was still thinking. I hadn't yet found out who the girl he liked was, what she looked like, or whether she was much better than me. 2. When I woke up again, the sun outside was very bright, my head was dizzy. And my best friend Chen Pan was holding my hand and sighing, "You finally woke up, you scared me to death. It's lucky that someone nearby reacted quickly and carried you to the infirmary." The girl in front of me, wearing a high school uniform and with a face full of collagen, made me momentarily unable to react. Chen Pan from 17 years ago. The warm feeling on my hand told me that this was not a dream. I really have been reborn. A figure ran in from the door, flashing through the light and appearing in front of me. "Are you okay, Lin?" He looked at me calmly, holding bread and milk. A familiar memory was suddenly recalled. Yes, that day I overslept and didn't have breakfast, and I fainted during the break time due to low blood sugar. Lin he handed me the food and watched me eat it. That morning, Lin he's class had a physics quiz, but he skipped class for me and later got scolded by the head teacher. At 17, I was still caught up in the pink bubble of his concern for me, but now, at 32, I clearly knew that Lin he was just following his father's promise to take good care of me. Lin he's father and my father were comrades in arms. Later, Lin he's father sacrificed his life, and his mother took the compensation money and ran away. My father took Lin he in to raise him because he felt sorry for him, because he was living under someone else's roof. He always obeyed my father's words and never dared to defy him. From that day on, Lin he became my little shadow. Everyone behind our backs secretly teased us, saying that I had an obedient child bride. Later, my father found out about my little thoughts and teased Lin he to be our son-in-law, but he didn't say a word. At that time, I thought he was introverted and shy, but now I think I was really foolish. 3. During class, I was distracted, constantly replaying my past life. I don't want to trouble Lin he anymore. Maybe if I don't marry him, he will be happier, and I won't die afterwards. After class, the teacher made us stay 10 minutes longer, and after class, the students rushed out in a flock. I was packing my things when I saw Lin he had been waiting for me at the door for a long time, looking down at the set of wrong questions in his hands. The light illuminated him, making him look even more lonely and cold. We walked out of the teaching building in silence. Lin he has always been like this, cold and indifferent, as if he doesn't care about anything. I looked at his back and suddenly stopped in my tracks. Lin he, you can go back first. You don't need to walk with me anymore. You don't need to wait for me in the future. Why? There's no reason. You are free, Lin he. I walked towards the back street of the school, intending to buy a few workbooks to improve my poor math skills. The person behind me caught up with me and coldly asked, "What's wrong with you again? Is it because I was late in the morning, or did you not like the milk I bought?" There was only that flavor left in the supermarket. The moonlight shone on him, cold and lonely. His gaze seemed to say, "What's your little game this time?" I tried to explain, "It's really not like that. The college entrance exam is coming up, and everyone's time is precious. You don't need to waste it on me. I need to work hard as well." Lin he stood in place, probably for the first time hearing me say such words. I used to really like clinging to Lin he. I didn't get into Beijing University, but he did. However, he finally chose to stay in our city with me because of a word from my father. I used to naively think he liked me, just that he didn't say it out loud. He must be regretful. After all, that was his ideal university. 4. Lin he didn't come after me anymore. I went into the bookstore and picked out a few practice books that suited me, and also took a composition book. When I went to pay, I realized that the money in my pocket was gone. I was puzzled and walked through the bookstore again, but couldn't find it. I didn't know whether it was stolen or just accidentally dropped. I sighed and was about to come back tomorrow to buy it, when I turned around and bumped into someone. "Oh my God," the person exclaimed, and his comic book fell. He hurriedly tried to protect the grilled skewers in his bowl. "I'm sorry, why is it you again?" A familiar lazy tone. I looked closely, and it was Song-soo, a close friend from university. How come I met him now? It's quite a coincidence, classmate. I took you to the infirmary this morning when you fainted. Are you okay now? Oh, I'm fine, thank you. It didn't occur to me until later that I had such a coincidence with him. I don't know what kind of past life I had. Song-soo picked up the comic book. Seeing me hesitating in place, he took the book I was holding and paid for it together. I saw you walking around the store just now, like you were looking for something. Did you lose your money? I quickly nodded. This guy really is the one who will study criminal investigation in the future. He noticed so carefully. I said I would return the money to him tomorrow, and Song-soo waved his hand. Just treat me to dinner tomorrow. We walked out of the back street, and the night street had fewer people, only a few students passing by. Song-soo looked at the delinquent youths huddled together smoking ahead, and turned to say he would send me home. He went to the garage to get a black motorcycle. The motorcycle followed him, showing off its power and coolness. 5. He dropped me off at the foot of my building, and the roar of the motorcycle finally disappeared. I was afraid of being scolded from the building above. So I hurriedly told Song-soo to leave quietly. Song-soo laughed. You can't be quiet, my dear is so amazing. It sounded weird. Was about to say goodbye to him, but he suddenly raised his eyebrows and lowered his voice. Did you know that person? He seems to have been looking at you. I turned around and saw Lin He slowly walking from the entrance of the residential area. Strange, he was supposed to go back first. Why is he slower than me? Yes, I know him. Song-soo felt relieved, waved his hand, and left with a casual roar. Lin He went up the stairs with me, and there was an inexplicable sense of pressure in the silence. The elevator door closed, and he suddenly spoke. Is this the direction you're striving for? No, it's just a coincidence. That's really convenient. His tone was calm, as if he didn't care much. I didn't continue explaining. When he got home, Lin He would finish his homework and then take a shower. While he was walking into the bathroom, I quietly sneaked into his room and found the love letter. He always hides things in the same place, under the pile of books. It was easy to find. I opened the letter, but I couldn't figure out who Lee's classmate was. Could he be a classmate in his class? Considering his cold and indifferent attitude, he probably wouldn't be able to get close to anyone. Maybe I should help him a little. 6. The next day, I went to school with dark circles under my eyes, after checking all night. There were no girls with the surname Lee in Lin He's class except 2 boys with the surname Lee. Math class was once again confusing. Even if I were reborn, I would still not be able to solve the problems I couldn't solve before. It seems that the gap between me and Lin He is destined to be irreparable. At noon, I was about to invite Song-soo to lunch, but Lin He was waiting at the door again, holding my favorite dessert. I told you not to wait for me anymore, right? You should do what you need to do. Oh, thank you. No need to buy for me anymore. Lin He looked puzzled and sighed slightly. Lee Won, what did I do to offend you? You've been avoiding me lately. It's not your problem, it's my problem. I just figured some things out. I walked towards the cafeteria, then remembered something and turned back to say seriously, by the way, my father was just joking when he said for you to be his son-in-law. You don't have to take it seriously, and you don't need to listen to him too much. Lin He, good luck with your college entrance exam. Go to your ideal university. Lin He frowned, as if confused about why I said these things. I arrived at the cafeteria, and Song-soo was already waiting for me at a seat. What's this? Song-soo glanced at the bag in my hand. Eclairs. Here, have one. Thanks for helping me yesterday. Hey, no need to be polite. Song-soo waved his hand, but then smelled the fragrance of the dessert and couldn't resist eating one. One makes two. He ate a few, and there were some crumbs on his mouth. I was about to remind him when a cold voice suddenly came out. No wonder you wanted to get rid of me. Are you two dating? Song-soo was startled and almost choked. I turned back and met Lin He's cold gaze, feeling as if I had been caught in an affair. No, I'm not his wife anymore. Song-soo noticed the awkwardness between us and excused himself to get the food. No, I just met him. We're just classmates. I was telling the truth. But Lin He impatiently interrupted me. Don't explain to me. On Friday after school, Chen Pan wanted to try the new product at the dessert shop across from the school, and pulled me to go with her. He said it coldly, turned around indifferently, and seemed a little angry. Song-soo came back and asked me quietly who that person was. Looking at his gossipy eyes, I thought he thought I and Lin He were a couple. I briefly explained our situation, and Song-soo smiled knowingly. Oh, childhood sweethearts. He seems to care about you a lot. not at all, Lin. He couldn't wait to get rid of me. On Friday after school, Chen Pan was going to try the new products at the dessert shop across from the school and pulled me along. This dessert shop has been open for a long time, and it has always been very busy. Lin. He bought me the egg tart here. Chen Pan ordered 2 mango mousse. While waiting, I heard the staff say that there was a shortage of lemons and they were discussing it with the owner, Mr. Lee. I caught a glimpse of a girl in a school uniform walking towards the back area of the shop. Is she the daughter of Mr. Lee? She's surnamed Lee. Her name is Li Qian. I have seen her on the list of the English composition competition before. Her grades are very good, and she has always been in the top 50. Yes, she has participated in many competitions, and she is very academic. She has some connection with Lin He. No wonder Lin He often buys me desserts, because every time I come here, I can see him looking at the person he wants to see. After each purchase, he always looks very happy. I thought he was because of me. A swollen, bitter feeling arose in my heart, which I forced down. To confirm that the love letter was from Li Qian, I approached her when she came out. Hello, Li, I'm a friend of Lin He's. He forgot something. Ah, did he? Li Qian didn't have such a high level of vigilance. She checked her backpack and said in confusion, he only explained 2 problems to me. Then lent me his math notebook. He probably didn't leave anything behind. They definitely knew each other. I looked at the familiar orange-covered notebook. This was one I had bought for Lin He. I used to ask him math questions, but he wasn't very patient. I was too embarrassed to say I didn't understand, so I stopped asking later. Maybe I got it wrong. I'll tell him later. I left with Chen Pan, who excitedly handed me a mango mousse, but I had no appetite. When I was feeling down, everything tasted bitter. Why aren't you eating? Isn't it delicious? Chen Pan pushed me. Hey, what did you say to Li Qian just now? Nothing. How do you know her name is Li Qian? Chen Pan looked around and lowered her voice. Because my friend said she was the adopted daughter of Li Laoban, and then I remembered her. Oh, 8. Now I know who the author of the love letter is, and I feel much lighter in my heart. I wonder what kind of expectations and feelings Lin He had when he wrote this love letter. I envy Li Qian. I'm recalling when I confessed my feelings to Lin He in my 2nd year of high school. What did he say back then? Oh, he said, understood. The tone was cold and distant, as if it were a bother. In the evening, I finished organizing the wrong questions and planned to review some English words. The phone lighted up, and Song Su sent me several documents. Song Su, this is my mother's math test paper. You can do it too. Ask me if you don't understand. His mother is a training teacher for the Olympiad math class, so I also got some extra tutoring. I thanked him and sent a meme. Suddenly, the door of the room opened. Lin He entered with a gloomy expression. This was the first time he had entered without knocking. Did you touch something in my room? He didn't say what it was, but I knew. My heart felt uneasy, and I took the letter out from the drawer. Sorry, I didn't mean to peek. I had intended to play matchmaker for them, but I didn't expect it to be exposed so quickly. Lin He took back the letter, probably because his secret was exposed. His face was very bad. I felt a sourness in my heart, but still gathered my courage and said, I know who you wrote about in the letter. It's that girl from the dessert shop, right? Since you like her, you should confess to her sooner. She's so excellent. What if someone else gets her first? Anyway, the college entrance examination is coming soon. After it's over, you can pursue her properly. Then you can buy desserts for her openly without having to use the excuse of buying for me. Who asked you to meddle in my business? He stared at me with a deep gaze, full of anger. I just want you to be a bit happier. Happier? He snorted. I guess you're eager to get rid of me now that you've started dating someone else. You said you liked me before, but you've changed pretty quickly. I was stunned, not expecting him to think that way. You don't like me, so do you expect me to hang on to one tree forever? I retorted angrily. Yes. You'd better not hang on to me. I find it unlucky, he said coldly. Then turned around and left, slamming the door. I bit my lower lip, trying hard not to let tears fall. Damn Lin He, I will never like you again in my life. 9. For the next week, I didn't say a word to Lin He. My father thought we were both studying hard, so he didn't say anything. I'm free this weekend. I'm going to the library with Song Su to do problems. His grades are better than mine, and his thinking is more flexible. He often explains problems to me when I feel stressed. He will take me for a drive on his black motorcycle. Just thinking about us being good friends for a long time makes me have some expectations for the future. Maybe I've worked twice as hard this time, and my grades improved by more than 10 places in the monthly exam. My father was so happy after getting a call from the homeroom teacher, Lynn. He, who was making coffee, heard it and glanced at me, muttering with a low laugh, "Wow, dating didn't affect your studies, you too. You were infatuated with someone but it didn't stop you from getting first place in the exam." I intentionally provoked him back, turned around and went back to my room to study, not looking at his dark expression. College entrance exam countdown 1 month, that was the time when I was the most indifferent, my mind only focused on studying and scores, with no time to think about love. June comes with the hot weather. Along with the college entrance exam, this time I was well prepared. And I wrote with confidence. Even the last math problem, which I used to give up on, I could at least answer something this time, although I didn't know if the answer was correct. 10. The final bell rang, ending the exam. It also marks the end of my high school life once again. I walked out of the exam room and saw Li Qian and Lin He standing together. She seemed to have not done well on some questions and was impatiently checking answers with him. Maybe it's because love makes one see beauty in the beloved. Lin He is always more patient with her than with others. I passed by them and ran towards Chen Pan and Song Su. We had agreed to go to the amusement park, KTV, and Happy Valley, and have a great time. During the time before the results came out, I was constantly out having fun, and my father didn't even bother to manage me anymore. It's strange that Lin He calls me every day and asks me what time I'll be back. Sometimes, if I come back late, Song Su will ride his bike to send me home. Every time he runs into me, he will make some sarcastic remarks. For example, today is my birthday, and I'm officially 18 years old. I came home late at night, had some alcohol, and Song Su didn't ride his bike. He walked slowly with me. When I got to the building, he suddenly called out to me, "Li Wan, from now on, I'll spend every birthday with you, okay?" The sky was too dark, and I couldn't see his expression clearly. Thinking that this was the beginning of our revolutionary friendship, "Of course it's good, you're my best brother." I slapped him several times, and he coughed, with a hint of loneliness in his eyes. "You hit hard, you almost didn't have a brother anymore." We looked at each other and laughed. We just happened to meet Lin He when he came down to throw out the trash. He looked at us with resentment and said in a bad mood, "Li Wan, it's already past 12, aren't you going home? Hey, go back. Your little childhood friend is calling you." Song Su whispered teasingly, waved at me, and reminded me to go home and have some honey water. 11. The elevator was going up, and Lin He was still talking. For the first time, I found him talkative like an old woman. "Are you annoying? I'm back, aren't I?" He stiffened, his tone strange. "Am I annoying? You promised me you'd be back before 10, what if something happened to you?" How would I explain it to Uncle? Today is an exception. And I'm with Song Su, there's no danger. Even if I don't come back, I have somewhere to go. Going out at night, where else do you want to go with him? Don't think because you're dating he can do whatever he wants. Lin He's tone became serious, his whole body full of alertness. I looked at him strangely. "Why are you so angry?" He looked away uncomfortably and fell silent. Entering the house, I was pouring water when he spoke in a low voice. "You have your birthday today. Why didn't you invite me?" "Oh, I forgot." "Actually, I didn't forget, I just didn't want to think about unhappy things on such a happy day." Lin He lowered his eyes and went to the fridge to get me some honey. After a while, he handed me a blue box. "Happy birthday." "Thank you." I finished the honey water, but I didn't feel like opening the gift box. He hesitated for a while, then seemed to want to say something but held back, and went back to his room with his head down. I don't have high expectations for the gift he gave me. He used to give me a doll every year. Those kind of dolls you can get by scanning a QR code on the street, common dolls you can see everywhere. Now, my bed is still filled with those stuffed toys. I opened the box without much interest, and was instantly stunned. It was a handmade little girl, carrying a sunflower backpack, very similar to me when I was young. The person who wove it was clearly a beginner, with 2 obvious holes visible to the eye. He actually made it by hand. This is really rare in my life. 12. The day the college entrance exam results came out, my father accompanied us to check the scores. Lin He unsurprisingly still got high scores, 698. When I saw the score of 622, tears immediately flowed down my face. "Great, great. You really made me proud," my father said with red eyes, patting my head, and said he would take us out for a big meal that night. My father took a screenshot of the score and quickly posted it on his social media to show off. "By the way, Wan, where do you plan to go to school? When are you going to fill out your application? I'll stay in a 985 university here." I want to be close to my father. Chen Pan and Song Su seem to also plan to study in the same province, okay. Then I don't have to worry about you going to a distant city where you don't know anyone. I didn't do well last time, so I had to choose nursing as my major. This time I can choose to study medicine. My mother passed away when I was very young. Back then medical technology wasn't advanced, so I want to contribute as much as I can. Lin he saw his own score, and seemed unsurprised. Li Qian's score is probably similar to his. They can go to Beijing University together. That's really great. While my father was on the phone, Lin he suddenly asked me, do you want to stay in the local area mainly because of Song Su? Do you really like him that much? What's that got to do with you? I'm a bit annoyed with him now, feeling like he's been getting too involved lately. Lin he was staring at me, and his expression was no longer as indifferent as before. Li Wan, if you say so, I can also stay in this province with you. No need. You have such good grades. Staying here would be a waste. You should go to your ideal Beijing University. Li Qian is probably also going to get in, and you two can keep each other company. I didn't give her the love letter. Oh, my phone lit up, and Song Su was calling me. I was just about to answer the call when Lin he grabbed my wrist, looking a bit angry. Don't you care at all? Care about what? Care about you, who said not to hang on one tree, worried about bad luck. He turned pale all of a sudden when I repeated the exact words back to him. I pulled my hand away and went to the balcony to answer the phone. 13. Song Su's parents both work in this province, so he stayed here and his college application was consistent with mine. Great, we can ride bikes together again. After that day, I didn't pay much attention to Lin He's movements, whether he chased Li Qian or not. It had nothing to do with me. A month passed, I spent every day with Song Su, learning to drive and taking the driving test, and I got a bit tanned. Lin he received the admission notice from Beijing University, and he left without saying goodbye to me at the start of the semester, as if he was upset with me. The daily life of a medical student is so busy, there's so much knowledge to learn. I run between the library and the classroom every day, and Song Su has to choose a time to invite me to eat. During the final exams, I looked at two thick books like bricks and felt like crying. Song Su noticed I was getting thinner and often brought me food and kept me company while I studied. Why do you look so relaxed? Don't you need to study at all? I asked him. It's all in my head. He shrugged. I enviously look at every person with a good memory, probably because Song Su often comes to see me. The classmates started talking and thought he was chasing me, and I also vaguely felt something, that he was different from others towards me. But Song Su always acted as if everything was the same, so I didn't initiatively point it out. After the exam, I celebrated Song Su's birthday at school, but my mind was preoccupied with whether I had answered my pathology questions correctly. Song Su looked at the candles and smiled. I don't have any wishes. Maybe I'll wish for you. Li Wan, don't be so serious. I'll wish for you in the future. Will that make you smile? I forced a smile and didn't hold back at all. I hope I don't fail the class, please. Okay, the heavens have heard. He blew out the candles, smiling with a look of indulgence in his eyes. 14. During the summer vacation, I met Lin He, who I hadn't contacted for half a year. He still chose law, and seemed to be frequently involved in various debate competitions and club activities, and was quite busy. For the past 2 weeks, we have been getting along peacefully, like strangers, until Thursday night. Lin he went out to a friend's gathering and came back very late. I was almost asleep when I heard a stumbling sound at the door, which knocked into the entrance cabinet. I walked out and saw Lin he sitting on the floor, looking dejected. What's wrong? Did you get drunk? I was about to make him some honey water when he suddenly grabbed my wrist. Li Wan, I met Song Su today. Then what? He said you two never actually got together. Oh. I responded indifferently, not knowing how I had triggered his nerves. Lin he suddenly stood up and pushed me against the wall, his eyes filled with complex emotions. Why didn't you tell me? Why did you let me be mistaken for so long? Is it fun to play with me? Do you know how much He didn't finish speaking. His red eyes looked like they were about to cry. I looked at him without any expression, but I wasn't really emotionless inside. But I just found it funny. Lin he, I explained to you before. But you didn't want to listen. Now, what position do you have to question me? In silence, he seemed to recall a scene from a long time ago in that cafeteria, where he saw Li Wan sitting with a boy. He had to admit that at that moment he felt very annoyed. This feeling had been continuing until now, getting deeper and deeper. Lin he wiped his eyes and looked at me with courage. Li Wan, I think I can't let go of you. Can you continue to like me? I had imagined this scene many times before. But when it actually happened, it was already too late. No, why? He became anxious and tightly gripped me. Was it because of that love letter? I was immature before, couldn't tell the difference between love and admiration. I don't like Li Qian. I just felt a kind of mutual understanding with her. Is that true? But I never felt your love for me. I only felt his impatience and indifference towards me. Give me a chance. Let's start over, and I'll make sure you feel it properly, okay? He begged, with a drunken gaze staring at me, as if I were the last lifeline when he was drowning, but he didn't feel it. He hurt me at this moment. I pushed him several times, but he didn't let go. The more I resisted, the more anxious he became. Li Wan, please like me again. He bent down to kiss me. I panicked and turned away, and I slapped him. The loud sound shattered the quiet night. The pain on my face brought his sanity back. Lin, he suddenly let go. I'm sorry, I didn't listen to his explanation and ran back to my room. 15. The next day, I tried to act like nothing happened, but Lin He's eyes looked very guilty. At noon, Song-soo came to pick me up. We had agreed to go see the latest released movie today. He knocked on the door lazily and even put on sunglasses to show off. As soon as I opened the door, he saw my gloomy expression and his face turned serious. What's wrong with you? Are you sick or in a bad mood? It's okay. I reached for my hat to put it on, and he suddenly grabbed my wrist. A red mark, even some bruising, was clearly caused by external force. Who did this? He became alert and even showed some police-like demeanor. I accidentally hurt myself. Song-soo clearly didn't believe me. His eyes fixed on Lin He on the sofa, and he grabbed his collar and pulled him forward. Did you bully her? Yes, Lin He has been staring at us since earlier, and he's already extremely annoyed. You bastard. Song-soo suddenly swung a punch, and I was so scared that I grabbed him immediately. It seemed that Lin He had found an outlet for his frustration, pulling Song-soo to fight with him. I was flustered and shouted for them to stop. If my dad comes back and sees the mess, he'll definitely scold us to death. Stop fighting. Can't you be calm for a moment? I grabbed Song-soo and pulled him away, seeing that he had a wound on his face. How could a future people's police officer be so impulsive? However, Lin He's face wasn't much better either. Song-soo had been trained, and he specifically targeted the painful spots. Lin He's face was pale, but there were no visible marks for the time being. Song-soo didn't dare to say a word when I glared at him. He weakly said, "The movie is about to start. Let's go." "Why are you watching a movie? You're injured like this. Come with me to buy some medicine." I angrily pulled him out of the door, completely forgetting that there was another person who was also injured. Lin He looked at the two figures walking away, feeling lonely as he covered his abdomen. After buying the medicine, I applied it to Song-soo, and he winced in pain. Don't fight recklessly anymore. What you learned is for protecting the people, not for fighting. Humph. He bullied you, and you're still defending him. I'm not. I'm speaking for you. If you get reported and punished, won't it affect your job as a police officer? Song-soo was taken aback. A smile tugged at the corner of his mouth, but then it dropped again due to the pain. Li Wan, you're so worried about me. No, you have. 16. Since the argument with Lin He hasn't done anything extreme anymore, but he really seems to have started liking me, trying to make me feel it. Every holiday, he comes back to cook for me and gives me carefully prepared gifts. On my birthday, National Day, Christmas, there's always his presence at school. I see him with dark circles under his eyes from traveling by plane. I just feel he's wasting his time, but he only cares about whether I'm happy or not. My senior year birthday, also the end of my undergraduate studies. I studied for 7 years in a row, and after that I would move to another campus. Song-soo was sent to do a task by the bureau and couldn't come back to celebrate my birthday. Lin He was cooking in the kitchen, and he had prepared all the dishes I like. I was staring at the chat window with Song-soo, distracted. What are you looking at? Dinner is ready. Nothing. I don't know what Song-soo has been busy with these days. Is what he's doing dangerous? If he, Li Wan, Lin He coldly cut me off, and I suddenly came back to my senses, realizing that the person sitting in front of me was Lin He. You've been mentioning him since I came back. He looked very dissatisfied, but also helpless. Oh, sorry, Li Wan, when will you finally look at me? Eat, this soup looks good. Lin He felt he had tried hard enough. Why couldn't he go back to the past? Late at night, I was about to go to sleep when my phone lit up. Song-soo, open the window. I quickly pulled back the curtain and saw Song-soo standing below, waving something that was glowing on his hand. I ran down and looked at him in surprise. You said you might not be back from the mission, yes. But I couldn't help it, I promised someone, and I'll be with her every birthday from now on. He handed me the bottle that was glowing in his hand. The fireflies are flying inside, flickering in the dark. It's for you. I saw it when I was on a mission. I thought you might like it. Thank you. I smiled at him, feeling that he had more to say. I vaguely guessed what it was, but he kept looking at me, and finally sighed gently. Lee Wan. Happy birthday, 17, Song-soo was interning. I was in graduate school when Song-soo became a team leader in the police station. I had just started my internship in the hospital. Every time I see people suffering from illness or death, I feel a bit sad, until one day, several seriously injured people were brought to the hospital. Song-soo was among them. His abdomen was stabbed, his spleen was injured, and he was bleeding heavily. My mentor worked hard to save him, and only after the red light in the operating room went out did he stabilize. I took a moment to check on him, and his face was pale, as if he wouldn't wake up any second. I had red eyes and silently prayed that he wouldn't have any more problems. Late at night, I was reviewing neurosurgery knowledge by his bedside when I suddenly saw his finger move slightly. Looking up, I met his eyes. Lee Wan, did you save me? No, it was my mentor. I only helped a little bit. I got up to check his condition, asked if he felt dizzy or wanted to vomit, and recorded everything. Then I felt relieved. You look very professional now. Song-soo smiled, his eyes bright. Of course, I did study hard for 7 years. Then I'll rely on Dr. Lee in the future. What are you talking about? Don't let me see you in the hospital again. He smiled, gently touching my fingertip with his wrist. After hesitating for a while, he didn't take my hand. A nurse came to call me for rounds, and I gave him some instructions before leaving. Then came the busy daily routine. Song-soo stayed in the hospital for a month, and many colleagues came to visit him. Every time I went for rounds, his friend would wink and make a face, as if everyone understood, but Song-soo didn't show any reaction at all. Until the day he was discharged, he didn't say anything, and he still called me Dr. Lee. I handed him the medicine in a bad mood and wrote down the instructions clearly. Hey, Song-soo, is there anything you want to say to me? What? I will strictly follow the medical advice. He pretended not to know. I glared at him in anger. You'd better never say it. 18. In the following years, Song-soo often went on missions, traveling all over the country, and sometimes I couldn't reach him. He was still as excellent as ever. Entering a top law firm after graduation, and became a top lawyer within a few years. He is now very rich and sometimes sends me some strange but very expensive things. I haven't even had a chance to open some of them. They're all piled up in my father's study. The hospital is too busy. Sometimes I don't even have time to eat. He came to see me a few times, but he didn't say much, and I had to go back to work again. He still doesn't give up. Whenever he has time he contacts me. And sometimes he sends flowers to the hospital. Sometimes when I'm drunk, he calls me and repeatedly asks me, Lee Wan, how can you possibly like me? Tell me. Okay, why are you doing this to me? You were the one who liked me first. How can you just change your mind? I was wrong. I shouldn't have said those things. Please come back. Let's continue to like each other. Lee Wan, I really miss you. No one's feelings change all of a sudden. In the many years we've been together. In the 10 years we got married in the previous life, he had so many chances to say I love you. Since he didn't, then it's over. Look forward. 19. Time passed quickly, and I'm now 32 years old again. In the previous life, I died in an elevator accident in December of that year. I don't know if anything will happen this year. The phone rang and interrupted my thoughts. Song-soo's lazy voice came through. Dr. Lee. My birthday is next week. What are you going to give me? I let out a cold laugh. I'll give you the best wishes. This guy has been dragging his feet for so many years not to confess his feelings to me, making us not a couple but yet closer than one, which has seriously affected my love life. He even wants me to give him gifts. Dream on. He smiled faintly and said, the bureau is planning to promote me. My overseas assignments will be reduced, and I can stay in this province permanently from now on. Oh. And then what? I also played dumb with him, then. This year's birthday wish I made myself. If my wish is to confess my feelings to you, do you think it will come true? You try it. I tried to stay calm, but a bit of sweetness rose in my heart. Before the phone call ended, a nurse rushed in and said the director needed to hold an emergency meeting. I quickly took my notebook and rushed over. The director said that a magnitude 8 earthquake had occurred in Tongqing. And the hospital needed to send personnel for support. No wonder I felt a dizziness at noon. It wasn't a delusion after all. I'm on the list. I quickly gathered my things and followed the group to Tongqing. When I arrived at the scene, there was a pile of ruins and cries of sorrow. My colleague and I didn't have time to grieve. We immediately joined the support efforts. There are not enough supplies here. The roads are also inconvenient to access, and many medicines are missing. We all posted on WeChat to call for help. And Lin, he immediately contacted me, saying he could donate supplies. Me, thank you, Lin lawyer. Lin he, how do you thank me? Is that all you can say to me? Me, I have to go to work. Lin he, take care, contact me if you need anything. 20, late at night, I was about to take over the shift with a colleague when a sudden tremor made people panic. Quick, get under the table, my colleague shouted. I had just taken a step when the ground suddenly gave way. The broken earth blocks fell quickly. Then there was darkness, and I lost consciousness. The second earthquake was not as strong as the first, but the damage was still significant. I was trapped below, pinned by the rocks, unable to move. I don't know how long it had been, but my body started to go numb, and my hands lost sensation. I was parched and too weak to even shout for help. The darkness around me made me think of the moment the elevator lost gravity. Was it all predestined? Am I still going to die? My phone in my pocket lit up. And I saw it was Song-Soo calling, but I couldn't answer it. That's terrible. I even got a second chance at life, but still couldn't hear the confession from the person I like. My consciousness gradually faded away, and my body also started to lose warmth. A hurried voice came from above. Li Wan, where are you? 21. It felt like I had slept for a century. When I woke up, I found myself back at the hospital where I work. Li Wan, you're awake. How are you? Is there anywhere that hurts? Song-Soo was looking at me anxiously, his eyes filled with tears. I shook my head. How was the rescue? Are the colleagues who were trapped with me okay? He was angry, but then grabbed my hand as if he had found something precious. Good that you're awake. He bent down, and tears fell on my hand, especially scorching. Did you save me? Yes, I couldn't reach you. And then our team was sent for support. Thank you. Thanks, you've saved me too. We're even. Song-Soo called a doctor to check me, then bought me a nutritional meal and fed me bite by bite, like taking care of a child. I stayed in the hospital for a few days, and Song-Soo watched over me for those few days. On the day I was discharged, Song-Soo suddenly wasn't there. I packed my things by myself and planned to go home and have a good meal. As I was about to leave the hospital, roses suddenly started falling from the sky. I hadn't even reacted yet. Song-Soo was dressed formally, kneeling on one knee in front of me, the diamond ring in his hand shining. Li Wan, I like you. I've liked you since high school, but because of my career, I've always been afraid to be stable with you, worried about holding you back. Now, can you give me this chance? Li Wan, will you marry me? His colleagues and friends were throwing petals around, and my colleagues were also cheering. I was so embarrassed my face turned bright red. Who came up with this stupid idea? It's so cheesy. I covered my face, catching a glimpse of a well-dressed figure outside the crowd. Lin, he was holding a bouquet of roses, as if he had rushed over, with sweat on his forehead. His face was pale, and he touched the square box in his pocket. Dr. Li, how much longer do you want me to kneel? Song-Soo asked me in a low voice, his eyes filled with anxiety. I laughed and said, I do. The ring was perfectly sized for my ring finger. Finally, I waited for it. Song-Soo suddenly hugged me and cried excitedly. Wow, Captain, are you okay? The girls didn't cry. Do you understand? That's love. I'm so envious. If I go back to high school, is it still possible? I don't want to be a lonely king anymore. That night, I received a message from Linhee. Are you really going to marry him? Li Wan, I was with you the longest. Why is it him in the end? Take another look at me. Okay, I deleted the message and blocked him. The person behind me wrapped around me and kissed me. Focus. 22. The day I married Song-Soo. Lin, he didn't come, but he sent a very expensive diamond. When Song-Soo saw the gift, he started to act suspiciously, thinking that Lin he still had ulterior motives. Then he set the diamond on a collar and put it on my father's poodle. A year after my marriage, Lin he was still single. Later, I got pregnant and gave birth to a daughter, and he was still single. My father even advised him to find a girlfriend soon, as there were so many girls chasing him. He silently drank, his face dark and gloomy. After dinner, Lin he looked at the little girl in the crib and bit his lip. Li Wan, she looks like you. If only back then. He didn't finish, held back his feelings, and sighed slightly. Song-soo frowned and looked at him suspiciously. What are you thinking? She's my wife, legal, don't have any wrong ideas. Lin-hee laughed bitterly. She's only legal for now, life is so long, who knows when they might get divorced, he thought maliciously, a bitter feeling rising in his heart. Song-soo wanted to punch him again, but restrained himself in front of the family. On the way back, Song-soo was in a bad mood. He wanted to scold a dog just for passing by, in the middle of the night. Song-soo suddenly got up and asked me, "Wife, where did you put the marriage certificate? What's wrong?" "I'm going to hide it." "What's wrong with you?" I went back to sleep, and he started thinking about where to hide it. End of main text, extra chapter. My name is Lin-hee. From the first day I arrived at the Lee family, I knew that I and Lee Won would never be equal. Although Uncle Lee was very kind to me, if Lee Won fell down, he would blame me for not watching her properly. So I always followed Lee Won and protected her. People say I'm a man who lives off his wife's family. I didn't argue back, because that's how it is, living under someone else's roof. I really hate that feeling. I also hate Lee Won because of the hatred for the house. She always lingers around me, wanting to follow me to do this and that. I can't refuse her, but I feel repulsion from the bottom of my heart. In order not to make my uncle think that I'm an ungrateful foster child, I have to please Lee Won and not let her get angry. As I grew older, she became more and more beautiful and well-behaved. I started to often glance at her, and when she found out, I would pretend to be cold and say she was vain. I don't want to fall in love with her. I don't want to lose my last bit of dignity. However, in my second year of high school, Lee Won confessed her feelings to me. I couldn't help but feel happy in my heart, but I forced myself to suppress it. Her response to me was a bit disappointed, but the next day she kept chasing after me. One day, she got sick, the medicine was too bitter, and she asked me to go buy her dessert. Seeing her about to cry, I had no choice but to agree. In the dessert shop, I met Lee Chien. She had accidentally broken a freshly made cake, and her adoptive father scolded her for being useless and a burden. If I hadn't been there, that man might have been even harsher. I watch Lee Chien's carefulness and feel that we are the same. Later, I often made an excuse to buy desserts for Lee Yuan, and went to the store to look for Lee Chien. Every time I bought desserts, I didn't rush back. I sat in the store, feeling like I had gotten a moment of respite. Those were the few times when I didn't have to take care of Lee Yuan's and Uncle's emotions. Sometimes we would talk about our family backgrounds. Lee Chien would always sigh, but then she would try hard to study, like a tenacious little grass. I should like girls like her. Only she could understand my feelings. I wrote Lee Chien a love letter, but I never sent it out. I always felt that my feelings for her weren't enough, and that would be unfair to her. Recently, Lee Yuan has been acting strangely. She always wants to get rid of me. I saw her laughing and talking with Song-soo. I probably guessed that they were dating, saying that she likes me. She changed so fast. I was secretly happy, thinking I could get rid of her. At the same time, I was a bit angry. Why did she like someone else? Later, I found that the love letter was missing. I instinctively suspected that Lee Yuan took it. I felt a bit panicked and angry, and went to look for her. She was surprisingly calm, as if it didn't matter to her who I liked. I was very annoyed. On the day of filling in the college application, I told Lee Yuan that I could stay with her. But she's not interested in me anymore. I was both angry and upset, so I went to Beijing University far away. After arriving, I felt very regretful again. I'm not by Lai Wan's side, but Song-soo is. Lai Wan doesn't talk to me anymore, and even if she does, her lips are always mentioning Song-soo's name. I really hate this. The girl in front of me, wearing a high school uniform and with a face full of collagen, made me a bit unable to react. Young, but no matter what I do, we can't go back. Many years have passed, and Lai Wan and Song-soo never ended up together. I think I still have a chance. But Lai Wan is very busy and always ignores me. I gave her the most expensive things, but she no longer smiled at me like before. I am very scared. Until Lee Wan was rescued, I was completely broken, and suddenly realized that I couldn't wait any longer. I had ordered a diamond ring and flowers, and rushed over. It was still too late. I feel so regretful. Song-soo was right. I had so many years to keep Lee Wan, but I didn't. I made her sad. I myself pushed her into someone else's arms. I don't want to wish them well. I just want to wish Wan well, forever happy. Story 2. I've married my childhood friend 38 times. Each time, my former fiancé, Ji Fan, would come to wreck the wedding scene. He would tear off my veil with a gloomy expression and rough movements. Ji-ran, how dare you marry another man without my permission? Ignoring my cries and pleas, he would take me back and house arrest me, subjecting me to wanton humiliation. I resisted, struggled, and even called the police, trying every means to escape, but every time I would be caught by Ji Guifan. He threatened me with the lives and fortunes of my childhood friend's entire family and my career prospects, forcing me to compromise again and again. However, when I finally compromised and stayed by his side obediently, he thought I was rigid and lifeless. I was reborn 37 times, and each life ended badly. During my 38th rebirth, I didn't want to endure it anymore. Since every choice seemed to be wrong, then I choose for Ji Guifan to die. 1. I opened my eyes again and saw the gentle and affectionate face of my childhood friend, Qin Zhan. He choked up and said, Ran, I've finally married you, but there was no ripple in my heart. This is my 38th rebirth, including the original life. I have married Qin Zhan 39 times. Each time, the wedding was never completed smoothly. Ji Ran. Sure enough, the next second, Ji Guifan's enraged voice sounded. I turned my head and saw his figure already appearing at the end of the red carpet, staring at me with a gloomy expression. Qin Zhan immediately stood guard in front of me protectively. Don't be afraid, he said firmly. Today is our wedding. I won't let anyone ruin this wonderful day. It's useless. The Ji family is a business tycoon with great power and influence, so even though Qin Zhan and I kept the news of our marriage airtight, and we even set the wedding location on the back mountain of a distant relative's hometown of Qin Zhan, he could still find out and come in time to stop it. And Qin Zhan and I, one is an orphan with no one to rely on, and the other is an ordinary student from a small town who excels in exams, against Ji Guifan, the only son of the Ji family. It's simply like a mayfly shaking a tree or a mantis trying to block a cart. Qin Zhan had already instructed his relatives that as soon as Ji Guifan appeared, some people would immediately hold hoes and machetes, intending to intimidate them, but obviously, they were no match for these well-trained professional bodyguards. Ji Guifan didn't even ask them to take action. He threw out large amounts of red banknotes, and those villagers immediately bent down to pick them up, escorted by bodyguards. Ji Guifan came to me unobstructed. Qin Zhan was held back by the bodyguards and shouted heartbreakingly, Ji Guifan, you're not allowed to touch her. Ji Guifan ignored him and just sneered at me. Ji Ran, you've really got some nerve. He tore off my veil and corsage in one go, and there was an uncontrollable violence between his handsome eyebrows and eyes. How dare you marry another man without my permission? Aia. Checking in at the famous scene, Brother Ji is so handsome. I think the female lead should stop struggling and just submit to our Brother Ji. Yeah, he has already realized his mistake. He loves you so much. Just go back with him obediently. My pupils trembled. I was shocked when I saw these colorful bullet comments in front of me. These didn't appear in the previous 37 times. Ji Ran, are you even listening to me? Seeing that I didn't react much, Ji Guifan became even angrier. He grabbed my wrist and pulled me, wanting to leave. Come with me. Didn't you always want to marry me? We'll go back and get married. Stop being angry. Love me obediently like you used to, and I'll spare Qin Zhan. Why isn't the female lead saying anything? Is she stunned by Brother Ji's domineering handsomeness? How is that possible? She must be thinking about running away in her heart. This drama is about forced love, so she won't be so obedient. This man is so despicable. When the female lead was running after him, he was extremely annoyed by her. Now that the female lead doesn't love him anymore, he's sticking to her. Those who slandered him before, get out. Make it clear that it was the female lead's mother who first tried to get something in return for her kindness, which led to this engagement for the female lead. Brother Ji really didn't like the female lead in the early days. Is he supposed to sacrifice his whole life just because he was saved by her mother? I couldn't agree more. And the female lead's mother was also very scheming. If she hadn't thought that the Ji family was rich, she wouldn't have jumped into the water to save Brother Ji. So Brother Ji is pitiful. In the early days, the female lead was really submissive and not likable. It's normal for him to dislike her. I thought I had already become numb after experiencing the chaotic lives of the previous 37 times. But when I heard someone say that my mother was scheming, I couldn't help but feel angry. My mother wouldn't have died if it wasn't for saving Ji Guifan. She had already escaped from my abusive father with me and found a good job. Our lives were about to get better. She was such a good swimmer, but just because Ji Guifan, who was drowning, desperately pressed her underwater, she exhausted her strength. After sending Ji Guifan to the shore, she sank. She didn't even leave me a last word. How could she have tried to get something in return for her kindness? Okay, stop arguing. Let's get in the car. The famous scene of having sex in the car is starting. I was stuffed into the car by Ji Guifan. The car door closed, blocking out Qin Zhan's cries. Ji Guifan leaned over and pressed on me, his eyes deep. Ran. Do you know how sad I am? Perhaps because I didn't scold him hysterically like the previous 37 times. Ji Guifan's attitude was much gentler. There was a strong affection in his eyes, and his desire gradually rose. His big hand had lifted the wedding dress and reached under my skirt. You can't marry someone else. You're my fiancé, you're mine. Ran. His lips and tongue wandered on my neck, and the hot breath sprayed on my skin, making me feel disgusted and sticky. The bullet comments scrolled through the screen excitedly. Qin Zhan is watching outside the window, and our brother Ji is pressing the female lead on the chair and having sex with her. So exciting, Ji Guifan, I said softly. Then do you know how much I hate you? Ji Guifan paused in his actions and raised a pair of angry and sad eyes. The next moment, I had already pulled out the hairpin behind my head and stabbed the sharp end into his neck. Blood spurted out, too. The hot and sticky touch was so clear. Ji Guifan's incredulous and terrified expression still remained in front of me. In a flash, I was back at the wedding scene again. The sky was blue, the clouds were white, and the grass was green. The groom, Qin Zhan, smiled and looked at me at the end of the red carpet. The bullet comments scrolled through the screen like crazy. Holy shit, did you all see that just now? Wasn't it my imagination? I saw it. The female lead killed brother Ji. She stabbed him to death. Goodness me, isn't the drama I'm watching about the male lead chasing after the female lead and forcing love? Isn't it about her chasing him and him running away and her being unable to escape? How did it turn into a horror scene in the blink of an eye? I remember the original plot wasn't like this. Isn't it supposed to be the famous scene of the male and female leads having sex in the car? Why did the female lead kill the male lead? Mom, it's so eerie. I don't want to watch it anymore. I want to go home. The male lead who forces women to do things deserves to die. The female lead stabbed him well. So satisfying. Don't be too happy yet, those above. Where is the exit button for this video? This rebirth occurred a little earlier than before. Ran. I've finally married you, Ji Ran. But it was only a little earlier. I looked at Ji Guifan at the end of the red carpet indifferently. The female lead's eyes are so scary. She won't try to kill brother Ji again, will she? No, brother Ji loves you so much. Isn't it good to go back with him and live the life of a wealthy lady in a wealthy family? Why does she have to kill someone? The female lead is so despicable. Why is she treating the male lead like this? It was clearly her and her mother who first tried to get something in return for their kindness. She was the one who provoked the male lead first. Now that the male lead has fallen in love with her, she's making that stinky face. Is she looking for trouble? That's right. The male lead's biggest mistake is that he's been too kind and good-tempered all these years, spoiling her into what she is now. Is Ji Guifan too kind and good-tempered? Then what about all the torments I've suffered all these years? Is it the retribution from heaven after my mother saved this scumbag? Either we all had an illusion just now, or this drama suddenly went crazy. The plot will definitely be normal next. That's right, that's it, don't be afraid. Qin Zhan stood in front of me just like the previous 39 times. Today is our wedding. I won't let anyone ruin. Qin Zhan, I'm sorry. I pushed him away, tore off my veil and corsage, and walked straight towards Ji Guifan. Ji Guifan at the end of the red carpet immediately stopped in his tracks, and the violence and gloom between his eyebrows and eyes melted away. He glanced triumphantly at Qin Zhan, who was blocked by the bodyguards behind me, and looked at me with a half-smile. Ji Ran, at least you have some conscience. I didn't say anything, I just stepped forward quickly, and with precision and force, I stabbed the sharp object in my hand into his neck. Ji Guifan's eyes widened in. Ran. I pulled out the hairpin, and blood spurted out from his neck. Under the sunlight, it was as beautiful as a fountain of blood. After a short moment of silence, a series of panicked screams immediately rang out around us. Murder. The bodyguards rushed up and pinned me to the ground. Ji Guifan covered his neck, and his body also slumped down uncontrollably. He looked terrified, in disbelief, dazed and at a loss, as if he couldn't understand how things could have turned out like this. I had clearly walked towards him on my own initiative. I had clearly loved him so much. How could I kill him? In his terrified and confused gaze, I saw myself with blood on my face, and my smile was more carefree than ever before. Holy shit. The female lead killed the male lead again. She's still smiling. My goodness, how can she still smile? Aia, my brother G. How dare the female lead? How dare she? Where the hell is the exit button? I really don't want to watch anymore. Double kill. Congratulations to the female lead for achieving a double kill. The last bullet comment caught my attention. However, before I could take a closer look, Ji Fan, unwilling and resentful, took his last breath. When I opened my eyes again, he had changed his clothes and was alive again. Ji ran. I'll give you one more chance. Kneel down and wipe Han Ying's shoes clean. He leaned carelessly on the leather sofa in the private room of the bar, holding a woman in a red dress in his arms, with a haughty and indifferent expression. If you do it, I'll still recognize you as my fiancé. If you don't, get out of the Ji family. Brother Gui Fan, this isn't very appropriate, is it? After all, Sister Ran has an engagement with you. The woman in the red dress, Jiang Haining, Ji Guifan's childhood sweetheart, pretended to be reluctant and persuaded him. What engagement? I recognize it, and she's my fiancé. If I don't recognize it, Ji Guifan sneered. Those peach blossom eyes that should have been gentle and affectionate were now surging with resentment and jealousy. He enunciated each word clearly. She's a promiscuous and two-faced slut. I remembered. This was 2 months before my wedding with Qin Zhan. Ji Guifan saw me chatting and laughing with Qin Zhan and believed that I was promiscuous and would flirt with any man I saw, so he deliberately humiliated me. In the original life, this was the moment when I completely saw through Ji Guifan's true nature and decided to give up on him. What's going on? Why is the timeline getting earlier each time? Although I'm a fan of the male and female leads as a couple, I have to say that the male lead is really despicable at this time. Just because he saw the female lead chatting with her childhood friend for a while, he wants to humiliate the female lead like this. The male lead has probably changed dozens of bed partners. The male lead is a young master of a wealthy family. It would be strange if a 25-year-old person was still a virgin, right? Then what about the female lead? Does the female lead have to wait for the male lead with her virginity intact? It's precisely the male lead's scumminess and despicability in the early stage that can better set off how satisfying it is when he becomes a lackey for the female lead in the later stage. I like this kind of plot. I like it and I want more. Where's the satisfaction? I only see the female lead's pain and struggle. The male lead really deserves to die. I support the female lead in killing him for the 3rd time. What, you don't want to? Ji Guifan looked at me and smiled. But his eyes had no warmth at all. Do you want to be a housewife for your little childhood friend, Ji Ran? Are you really so inseparable from men? Suddenly, he flew into a rage, stood up, and grabbed my neck, gnashing his teeth and saying, do you still remember that you're my Ji Guifan's fiancé? For fuck's sake, I had difficulty breathing, but I still couldn't help laughing. Ji Guifan, do you know that you're the most despicable person I've ever met in my life? Ji Guifan raised his eyebrows in surprise and said in disbelief, what did you say? I said. I picked up the fruit knife on the fruit plate and stabbed it hard into Ji Guifan's abdomen, then I pulled it out and stabbed it in again. I said you're a despicable person, a despicable person. Did you ever consider me your fiancé? Do you still remember that my mother died to save you? 3. Ji Guifan covered his wound and stumbled onto the sofa, his childhood sweetheart, his close friends, and the hostesses in the bar all let out a scream and scattered like birds and beasts. Ji Guifan looked in pain, but there was still residual anger on his face. It was clearly you and your mother who tried to get something in return for your kindness. Don't say that to me. I pounced on him and stabbed him with another knife. Then I held the handle of the knife and twisted it hard. The engagement between you and me was insisted on by your parents. My mother died saving you. I was only 7 years old at that time. Could a 7-year-old child coerce your Ji family into arranging an engagement between me and you? What's more, don't you know exactly what kind of life I've lived all these years? What kind of fiancé am I? I'm clearly a dog that your Ji family raised for you. In Ji Guifan's wide, terrified eyes, I saw myself, covered in blood and looking frenzied. If it weren't for you, my mother wouldn't have died at all. She was such a good swimmer. It was you who pushed her underwater again and again. Go to hell, go to hell, go to hell. I lost count of how many times I stabbed him. I just felt an unprecedented sense of relief. The resentment and indignation that had been pent up for so many years had finally found an outlet to pour out. In the end, Ji Guifan lay on the sofa with his eyes wide open. The part below his neck was a mass of blood and flesh, and it was impossible to tell it was a human shape. I was completely drained of strength and slumped down in a pool of blood, laughing with great satisfaction. The bullet comments that had briefly paused started scrolling like crazy again. Some people thought I was too heartless, some were scared by me. Some people thought I was quite patient to hold on until now before going crazy. There were also those who felt sorry for Ji Guifan and cursed me wildly. I didn't care about any of it, I just stared intently at the bullet comments, until finally, another bullet comment popped up, triple kill. Congratulations to the female lead for achieving a triple kill. I didn't close my eyes. I watched as the scene in front of me twisted and changed, and in an instant, it became the grand hall of the Ji family's villa. The clothes were fragrant, the women's hair was styled beautifully. There were numerous guests, and the music was melodious. This was 3 years ago. It was Ji Guifan's mother's 50th birthday banquet. Before I could snap out of the exhilaration of killing Ji Guifan with my own hands, the 22-year-old Ji Guifan suddenly rushed out and pulled me away. He walked quickly and urgently, and I couldn't keep up at all. I instinctively struggled. Ji Guifan suddenly turned around. His eyes bloodshot. Ji ran, is this what you want? Do you even know what shame is? His words were confusing, but I understood. He had been drugged. It was an aphrodisiac secretly administered to him by the sworn enemy of the Ji family. The intention was to create a scandal and shame the Ji family. As a result, Ji Guifan mistakenly thought that I was the one who had drugged him and took me to the room and raped me, even though more than 30 lifetimes had passed. Just thinking about that night's experience made me feel terrified and Ji Guifan is not human at all, he's just a rutting beast. After that night, I fainted for a full 3 days. As soon as I woke up, I faced the harsh scolding of the entire Ji family. I always knew you were a restless one, but I never expected you to be so bold as to drug Guifan directly at the banquet. Do you know how strong that drug is? It could have hurt Guifan's body. We raised you so big, not for you to bite the hand that feeds you. I said it wasn't me, that I didn't drug Ji Guifan, that I didn't know anything about it at all, and that it was Ji Guifan who raped me. Ji's mother scolded me. Who else should we blame if not you? You're Guifan's fiancé, isn't that what we keep you for? Still talking about being raped, pretending to be a chaste and heroic woman. You dared to drug him, but you don't dare to take responsibility. No one was willing to listen to my explanation. Everyone, just like Ji Guifan, believed that I was a scheming woman who coveted wealth and glory. Afraid that Ji Guifan wouldn't marry me, I was trying to force the issue at the birthday banquet and make them fulfill the engagement and marry me into the family. I was punished by being put in confinement. A high fever led to pneumonia, and I almost died. Later, when the truth came out and they realized that I wasn't the one who had drugged him, they just casually said, "So it wasn't you, then why didn't you say so earlier?" Ji Guifan didn't show the slightest bit of remorse. Instead, he said jokingly, "Well, you made a profit then, Ran. If I hadn't been drugged by mistake, I might never have touched you in my life." Not only did he not apologize, he didn't even admit to wrongly accusing me. "Since you want it, I'll satisfy you." Ji Guifan's breath, reeking of alcohol, sprayed on my face. His turbid eyes, stained by wine and debauchery, were full of animalistic desire. Stop killing, stop killing. Although the male lead really deserves to die at this moment. But female lead baby, you don't want to be trapped in the loop forever, right? Only by following the original plot can you truly get out of the loop. Female lead, even if I'm begging you, really stop killing. This world revolves around the male lead. Only by obediently following the original plot will the female lead gain happiness. Why doesn't she understand that? Happiness. Ever since my mother drowned while saving Ji Guifan, I've no longer had the ability to feel true happiness. Ji Guifan is the source of all my pain in this life. As long as he's alive, I'll never be able to be truly happy. Moreover, haven't I tried following the original plot? Whether I'm gentle and submissive or fiercely resistant, as long as Ji Guifan is around, I always end up with a bad outcome. I remember this plot was also very cruel. The female lead fainted for 3 days for the first time and was wrongly accused of drugging someone. She was put in confinement, had a high fever that led to pneumonia, and almost died. Our brother Ji didn't know the truth either. Female lead, can't you talk to him properly? That's right. At this time, he already has feelings for you in his heart. He just can't accept that the person he likes is scheming against him like this. If you talk to him properly, the result this time will definitely be different from before. I suppressed the urge to vomit and lowered my head meekly and timidly. The bullet comments were filled with joy and excitement. thank goodness, the female lead is finally willing to make a change. Ji Guifan snorted coldly and dragged me straight upstairs. I casually took a dinner knife from the dining table and hid it in the sleeve of my dress against my skin. Wait a minute, no, did I see it wrong? As soon as we entered the door, Ji Guifan threw me onto the bed and then pounced on me eagerly. Ji Ran, how old are you and already so lustful? Are you so afraid that I won't marry you that you're willing to drug me just to tie yourself to me? Is this your love for me? Ji Ran, fine, I'll grant you your wish. The dinner knife pierced through the fabric of his suit and stabbed into his lower body without a sound. Perhaps the pain comes more slowly to someone who has been drugged with a powerful aphrodisiac. It wasn't until the blood from my second stab splattered on my face that Ji Guifan realized it was his own blood. Not the blush on my face, for the pain came crashing down, and he involuntarily arched his body, like a shrimp with its intestines removed. Ji Ran, are you crazy? The bullet comments were equally in a state of collapse. Didn't you say you would talk properly? Why are you stabbing him again? Talk properly? Why should I talk properly to a beast? He doesn't understand human language anyway, and it would just be a waste of my breath. But I was still in a good mood and replied to Ji Guifan's words. I'm not crazy, I'm just fighting back against a rapist who has lost his humanity. Ji Guifan was twitching in pain and curled up into a ball. His face was as red as if it were, his eyes filled with shock, anger, resentment, and more than anything, confusion and bewilderment. A rapist. After understanding the meaning of the word, he became angry. Ji Ran, get it straight, it was clearly you who drugged me. No, if I really drugged you, it would only be rat poison, not an aphrodisiac. Even in such intense pain, Ji Guifan's expression showed a brief moment of blankness. He really couldn't understand the deep-seated hatred I had for him. The Ji family had been kind to me. I had been his fiancé since I was a child. Whether I truly loved him or loved the Ji family's wealth and power, it was always my own choice. How could I hate him so much that I wanted to kill him? Ji Ran, no, you're not Ji Ran. He dragged his body, which was on the verge of fainting from the pain, off the bed and crawled towards the door. Somebody, help, but just like in the original life, when I was being tortured under Ji Guifan and desperately calling for help with no response. This time Ji Guifan's cries for help also went unanswered. I lightly jumped off the bed and locked the door from the inside. Ji Guifan, why did you think it was me who gave you the aphrodisiac? I had wanted the answer to this question for so long. All these years in the Ji family, I was nominally your fiancé, but in reality, wasn't I just a personal nanny that your parents raised for you? No, a nanny has human rights, a salary, and holidays. I'm different. I squatted down and tapped his face with the blood-stained dinner knife one by one. I not only had to be at your beck and call, but I also had to endure all kinds of humiliation from you and your cronies, deliberately pushing me into the water, ordering me to go halfway across the city to buy mung bean cakes and then not eating them, making me cook chicken soup for your beloved childhood sweetheart. That's all fine. Deleting the contract, causing me to mess up the company project and owe 1,000,000 yuan in debt, snatching away the precious sponsorship spot Igot, making me take the blame for your cheating crony, and getting me a major demerit, one after another. Ji Guifan, do you know how long I've remembered these things and how long I've hated you? Although I used to ship the male and female leads, well, I can't do it anymore now. I support the female lead in killing the scumbag. Brother Ji was a bit mischievous. But the female lead really did live a wealthy life in the Ji family all these years, and Brother Ji didn't like the female lead before. With his status, what kind of woman couldn't he find? It's not like he was tied to a country bumpkin girl from the countryside since he was a child. He was too, you know. Ji Guifan covered his wound and gasped for breath with difficulty. I admit, I really did these things wrong, but Ran, you also have to understand me, having a fiancé out of the blue. I wasn't exactly happy about it either. I slashed his face with a knife. Did I force your parents to arrange this engagement for us with a knife? Ji Guifan, have you forgotten that I was only 7 years old when my mother drowned saving you? The tip of the knife approached Ji Guifan's eyes, and only then did fear spread in his eyes. It was your parents who arranged the engagement between me and you in order to have a good reputation for the company. You never even asked about my true wishes. I don't want a goddamn fiancé at all. I scratched his face fiercely. I want my mother. I want my living mother. Ji Guifan, give me back my mother. No, the tip of the knife stabbed deeply into his eye socket, and I heard a scream that was extremely satisfying. The female lead is so ruthless, but why do I feel kind of satisfied? My brother Ji, don't struggle, those above, anyway. We can't exit, otherwise. Let's look at it from the female lead's perspective and treat it as a revenge story that makes people feel great. I didn't let Ji-Gue-fan die as easily as the previous 3 times. Even if he was blind, he still had his hands. Even if his hands were broken, he still had his feet. The blood flowed bit by bit. He was in so much pain that he didn't have the strength to scream. When the dinner knife finally stabbed into his neck, I even saw a look of relief on his face. Quadra-kill. Congratulations to the female lead for achieving a quadra-kill. This time, it was 7 years ago. Ji-Gue-fan and I were 18 years old and in our senior year of high school. Am I going to search your school bag myself, or are you going to hand over that necklace voluntarily? The 18-year-old Ji-Gue-fan had a youthful look in his eyes and brows, but that annoying air of contempt and arrogance seemed to be innate, firmly taking root between his eyebrows. What's going on now? I know. The supporting female character, Jiang Haining, suspects that the female lead stole her necklace and is here to demand an explanation. The male lead knew that Jiang Haining didn't like the female lead, so to please her, he directly bought an identical necklace and put it in the female lead's school bag. No, what does that mean? Deliberately torturing the female lead? You guys upstairs just found out. This drama has been torturing the female lead from beginning to end. But now our female lead has risen up and can knock down the male lead and the supporting female character in no time. I ignored the unruly Ji-Gue-fan. I looked around and, as expected, saw the looks of disdain or contempt from everyone. What a pity, this was the classroom, and there were no convenient weapons at hand. I wondered if a ballpoint pen could pierce through Ji-Gue-fan's neck. Just as I was worrying, I reached into my school bag and felt it. Immediately, I was overjoyed. How could I have forgotten? During my high school days, I had a serious self-destructive tendency and often carried a small knife with me. Ji-Gue-fan, I smiled at him. Can you come over here? I'll give you the necklace. Ji-Gue-fan was taken aback, and his sword-like eyebrows furrowed even deeper, but he still came over and said impatiently, what trick are you playing this time? I pulled out the small knife and slashed at his neck with all my might. Ji-Gue-fan had no precautions against me. A lackey who had always followed him since childhood, submissive, cowardly, and as soft-tempered as cotton, he couldn't have imagined that I would resist. He couldn't have imagined that I would go for the big move right from the start, directly cutting his throat with a knife. Ji-Gue-fan covered his neck, which was spurting blood, and stepped back. Ji ran. Jiang Haining supported him and screamed in horror. Are you crazy? The classmates who were watching the commotion around us were immediately scared and scattered in all directions. Ji ran. I took out the diamond necklace that was said to be worth tens of thousands of yuan from my school bag and threw it at his feet. Ji-Gue-fan, you put this necklace in my school bag, right? Ji-Gue-fan opened his mouth futilely, but could only make a strange hoarse sound. I really can't figure you out. I sighed and casually picked up a glass on the table and smashed it. Ignoring the cut on my palm, I held the sharp shard in my hand. Jiang Haining was so scared that she screamed. She didn't care about Ji-Gue-fan anymore and crawled out in a panic. Ji-Gue-fan fell to the ground and looked at me in horror. What on earth did I do to offend you that you keep torturing me one way after another? My mother saved you, not harmed you, right? I crouched down in front of Ji-Gue-fan, forcefully stabbed the sharp end of the shard into his chest, and then smiled brightly at him. See you later, Ji-Gue-fan. Ji-Gue-fan's pupils dilated, and fear and despair welled up from the depths of his eyes. In an instant, he stopped breathing. So satisfying, unstoppable. Congratulations to the female lead for achieving a pentakill, you country bumpkin. I will never admit that you are my fiancé. I opened my eyes and saw Ji-Gue-fan, who was 9 years old, with an angry and flushed face. People like you aren't even worthy of holding my shoes. What right do you have to be my fiancé? I'm telling you. Don't think that just because you saved me and my parents are protecting you, you will definitely marry me in the future. I'd rather marry a pig than you. Wow, 9-year-old brother G, so cute. How could the female lead bear to do it? Yeah, and he's still so young. None of those previous harms have happened yet. He's just an adorable little boy now. Female lead, if you teach him well, he will definitely change for the better. What are you staring at me for? Ji-Gue-fan suddenly rushed over and pushed me hard. Don't you dare look at me like that. My 9-year-old body was still too small, and I was a bit unskilled. When I fell to the ground, I realized that my legs were covered in scars, and there were bandages on the serious parts. I remembered, the 9-year-old Ji-Gue-fan had a mischievous personality. He had a dispute with his father and mother because he didn't want me as his fiancé. He ran away from home at such a young age. As soon as he left the villa area, he was almost hit by a car. I rushed over and saved him, scraping my legs in the process. Ran, you have to remember that if you want to stay in this family, you have to make Guifan like you. You are Guifan's fiancé. You should use everything you have to accompany him and protect him. This is the responsibility of a fiancé. Guifan's life was saved by your mother. That means your mother's life was exchanged for his. You don't want the person your mother risked her life to save to get hurt, do you? Ji Guifan's parents brainwashed me into giving everything for Ji Guifan. So even though I was extremely scared when the car came crashing towards us, I still chose to rush out and save Ji Guifan. But he didn't appreciate it, just like now. He looked viciously at the injuries on my legs and raised his foot to kick me. I don't care that you saved me. Even if you hadn't saved me, that person wouldn't have dared to hit me. I'm the young master of the Ji family. Before his kick landed on my wound, I got up and charged at him. Coincidentally, there was a swimming pool right behind him. Ji Guifan fell into the water unexpectedly and opened his mouth to scold me. Ji ran, you gurgle gurgle gurgle. Ji Guifan didn't learn how to swim until he was 14 years old. He struggled in the water and called for help. His gaze gradually changed from anger to fear, but this time, no one would come to save him. I don't know how long it took. Ji Guifan's body sank. He was dead. I looked at the bullet comments still scrolling in the air. Godlike. Congratulations to the female lead for achieving a hexakill. Why are there so many people ahead? A gentle female voice that I hadn't heard for a long time sounded in my ear. I opened my eyes, carefully raised my head, and looked at the person. Short, neat hair that reached the ears, a thin and determined face, gentle eyes, and eyebrows that habitually carried a hint of sadness. Mom, it was Mom. I finally saw Mom again. Ran, you wait here for Mom. There's a big brother who fell into the water over there, and Mom is going to save him. No, my heart started beating violently. I clung tightly to my mother's arm, almost wrapping myself around her with my hands and feet. No, don't go, you'll die. Mom, don't go, don't leave me alone. We've finally managed to live a good life. Don't leave me, don't, I cried heart-wrenchingly, my heart breaking, not caring about anything else. There was only one thought in my heart and eyes, and that was to stop my mother from saving Ji Guifan. The one who deserved to die was never my mother, it was Ji Guifan. Ji Guifan was a jinx, a bad luck charm. Whoever got involved with him would be plagued by bad luck for a lifetime. What's wrong? Ran, Mom is here, Mom is okay, don't cry, don't cry. My mother crouched down and hugged me into her arms. Ran, don't scare Mom, Mom is fine, Mom won't go then. But my tears still wouldn't stop. I had lost count of how many years it had been since I last saw my mother. Ever since she died saving Ji Guifan, there had been no glimmer of light in my life. I had struggled in the darkness named Ji Guifan for so many years. This was my 38th rebirth. I seemed to want to vent out all the grievances of the previous 40-something lifetimes. I actually cried myself into a faint in my mother's arms. This time, my mother didn't care about Ji Guifan who had fallen into the water anymore. She picked me up and rushed to the hospital. When I woke up again, my mother was by my side, and on the TV, the news of the drowning death of the only son of the Ji family, the richest family in the area, was being broadcast. Ji Guifan's parents were heartbroken by the river. Congratulations to the female lead. You have successfully achieved the feat of reversing your life. Next, please enjoy your own life to the fullest. The bullet comments disappeared. Ran. When my mother noticed that I was awake, she quickly pressed the bell to call the doctor and then approached with red and swollen eyes. How do you feel? I held her hand, sniffed the unique smell of my mother on her body, and felt the warmth emanating from her. My heart was more at peace than ever before. I feel extremely good. I wrapped my arms around her neck, as if holding a treasure that I had lost and found again. Mom, I love you so much.